What's up, girl? Thank you so much for tuning in. It means so much to me that you are here right now. Um, so it's your girl, Coach Indy from IndyMichelle.com. And give me a hashtag live if you are turning in live. Give me a hashtag replay if you are watching this on replay. Today, I want to talk about a super deep topic, depression, anxiety, ADHD, social anxiety, insomnia, codependency. I literally have all of these things, either have or had all of those things. And so I want to share with you what that's like. Like, what does that look like all in one person? And then also, overcoming that and not laying victim to that. So, hey, Elena, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, girl. Because I saw that you did the replay last night. So, thank you for tuning in live today. Um, so, yeah, so um, I want to say just real quick before I get all the way deep in is that I am doing free nutrition audits. And so if that is something that you want to do with me, then give me a hashtag free and I will let you know a roadmap on how you can get 10 pounds off in the next 30 days. And so, yeah, let me go ahead and hop into it. I don't want to take up too much time. But okay, so for me, you said, Helena, that you have three of those: anxiety, depression, and ADHD. Oh, so yeah, you can relate quite a bit. So when you have multiple diagnoses, you don't present the same as someone that has only one of these things. Because oftentimes when I tell people I have ADHD, then they're like, okay, like I wouldn't say that. Like, you seem fine. If you ask me, like, I was one of those people that definitely everybody in school thought I had straight A's and I did not. Because I was constantly participating. I was constantly raising my hand. I was constantly had the answers, but that was just my way of like being impulsive, was like participating, and that was my way of being able to pay attention, was participating. But when I got home, I didn't have the attention span to do the homework, and so my grades suffered. I like almost never did homework. So the way that I got through school was I got B's and C's, because I did well on tests. But that's ADHD side. Depression side looks like having days where you don't want to get out of bed, and you just feel like, even just to do the smallest self-care, the smallest self-hygiene is work, and it's effort, and you're fatigued and you're tired. And, for me, my depression does not present as sadness and crying myself to sleep, but as numbness, as just being like, no emotion. I'm not happy. The things that should bring me joy don't during a depression episode for me. And then I'm also not like boohoo crying either. So I'm just going to be like flat, on the phone. So you're not going to be able to tell that I'm going through a depressive episode because I mask very well. Same with my ADHD, I mask very well. When it comes to social anxiety, for me, that looks like I will talk and I will be outgoing and I love interacting with people, honestly. But being able to getting out the house to go to a gathering, getting dressed for it, the preparation, the workup, I don't like that. Going to the grocery store is difficult for me. I've always got to wear my headphones because it just gives me anxiety being around crowds and large groups. Social anxiety also looks like for me where, even though I love people and I love talking to people, if I think I said something stupid, then I will play it over and over and over and over again in my head, and I'll just ruminate about it, and it will keep me awake at night. But it also presents like not showing up as my true self, because I'm trying to like mold or form myself to be like the people around me. Does that make sense? And so if you can relate to any of those things, then drop me a heart down below. If any of those things, it's like I said, you if you have multiple diagnoses, you're not going to present the same as someone that only has one, because someone with ADHD, they might be super social butterfly all the time. You know what I mean? But if I have social anxiety and ADHD, my social anxiety is going to rule over to the fact that I don't want to go to a large gathering, or it's hard for me to go grocery shopping. And literally for years, until I got on medication, I would order Instacart, I would do the curbside, I would, do the Amazon fresh grocery delivery, all of that. And so another thing too is that when I was married, I didn't want to do anything without my spouse, because that was my comfort zone, And so let me stop here for a second, Helena. Yes, I work in a plant and I have to wear earphones. Everything you said makes a lot of sense. It feels so good to know that somebody else knows how I feel. Like you said, I'm really good with people, but when it comes to going over someone's house or gathering, it drains me. Yes. Draining is, that word. That's the word, draining. Because once you got done being social, it's like you feel exhausted. Like it took work, because I'm literally trying to like not look stupid or not, say the wrong things. Because honestly, someone that's ADHD is neurodiverse. Just keeping it real. Like, we are not neurotypical. We don't think or process things the exact same way as someone who is neurotypical. So being someone that's neurodiverse, or if you think about like, someone that has Asperger's and they're neurodiverse, I may not always say the perfect thing. I may not always say the same thing. I might say the first thing that comes to mind by accident, and it didn't come out right, or I didn't say it in the tone that I was supposed to say. So then the social anxiety comes through. And so you're like constantly trying to plan out what you're going to say next, or then you're playing it over like, India, why did you say that? So then when you get home, you feel drained, because it took so much work, so much effort just to be around a group of people. And then the other two or three things that I can present with is just when my ADHD had me procrastinate or drop the ball on something, then my anxiety will pick the ball up and be like, oh my God, now I'm at the deadline. And now I've got to do X, Y, and Z. And so then you have the anxiety of just constantly worrying, or worrying about things that haven't even happened. And then insomnia, obviously, not being able to sleep at night. That's something I dealt with for years. Even when I was a kid, my daughter now deals with insomnia. She can stay up until 2, 3 in the morning if you let her. Her doctor and her psychiatrist approved her to have melatonin. So all you parent judgmental people, it's okay. My doctor said it's okay. Her doctor said it's okay for her to have melatonin. But I was given even herbal sleep stuff when I was a kid. And then now I've even had like a prescription for it. But thank God this last year, I haven't had to do any of those. Codependency is the last one. And then we'll talk about overcoming. Codependency is the last one, but it looks like, not being able to really stand on your own as far as making decisions for yourself. It looks like being a people pleaser. It looks like being a love bomber, as in like love bombing means like, you just want to give. And I know so many of you women are in this category and you don't even know it, because so many times we say, oh, I'm just giving and nobody else ever gives to me the way that I give to them. But you fail to give to yourself. You lack self-care, and you are pouring from an empty cup. And what I have learned about codependency and people pleasing and love bombing is that it's actually toxic and it's actually manipulative. So if it's not good for the other person, then it's definitely not good for you that's doing it, if you're the one that's constantly giving. Because what it ends up doing is this person thinks that you are X, Y, and Z, when really you're doing that to receive love in return or receive something in return. And when you don't get that, you're constantly disappointed. You're constantly left disappointed. So, I've definitely learned that, people pleasing does not always end well. Oftentimes it can actually end up harming relationships, because it's not healthy not to have boundaries, not to set limits. It's not healthy not to pour into yourself first before you're giving to other people. But so having all of this stuff that I'm talking to you about, I want you to know that you don't have to lay victim to these things. You don't have to have these things rule your life. And it definitely takes time. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but what I want you to know is that if you're able to give yourself some grace, if you're able to find the right support system, and if you're able to invest in yourself and willing to dig deep and do some really honest self-assessment, then things will eventually work themselves out. For me personally, this looked like a lot of different things. So I know that there's some people out there that are like anti-medication. That ain't me. Like, if that's you, then you could just, hop on off this live right now, stop, pause. But I am not anti-medication. And the reason why is because, there's some people that have really bad depression and they tried to commit suicide. There are some people that have ADHD, and because they don't fit the neurotypical standard that this world has, then it causes depression, because they're always constantly falling short. They're always missing deadlines. They're never on time. They're constantly saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing or making a decision out of impulse that may have hurt themselves or others. So that in itself causes depression. And depression can also cause self-harm. It can cause suicide. Not sleeping well and having insomnia is a trigger for depression. It's a trigger for not being able to, have flowing thoughts. It's a trigger for not having good focus. And so insomnia can cause depression, which can cause suicide. Codependency, if you don't heal from that, then codependency can, cause you to be in relationships that don't serve you, that do not serve you, be in situations that do not serve you, stay in jobs that do not serve you. And so definitely, I'm not anti-medication because of the fact that, yes, you do have to heal. Yes, you do have to do the work. Yes, you do have to go to therapy or have a mental health coach. However, the thing is that a medication, if it can save somebody from, trying to commit suicide, then why would someone be anti-medication? If it can give someone, enough dopamine just to be able to focus, just to be able to do their homework, just to not be a disappointment to their parents or their teachers, so that they're not like, browbeating you for always falling short, then, why wouldn't that be beneficial? So my point is that I understand why some people are anti-medication. However, I think the benefits typically outweigh the risk. Speaking for myself, because in my opinion, depression is like self-destruct mode in your mind. So let me stop here. Helena said, I'm actually excited with somebody invites me over, but when I'm around people, I get anxiety, especially if I don't know how to hold a conversation. That's hard, yes. And I definitely have dealt with that myself. I've had to teach myself like what's socially acceptable for me to say. And I've had to learn through trial and error of what is socially acceptable to talk about and say in social settings. And I'm still always constantly making mistakes and have messed up in so many areas where I said stuff where I wasn't supposed to say it. And then you said, I attract toxic people, so it makes me not want to go anywhere or hang out with people or avoid them when they call me. So when they say I'm judgmental, I'm just drained from the drama. Narcissists smell me from 1,000 miles away, so my circle's very small, but I want to expand it. I'm going to try to get some professional help. I'm always late for everything. I get distracted and I get so upset with myself. Girl, listen, I can relate to that 1,000 times over. So the first thing that I will address on there that you said was attracting toxic people. So yes, the thing is that with somebody that's codependent, typically our demeanor is very mild, our demeanor is very humble, our demeanor is very giving, and we come off as, the bubbly, loving person that's willing to do anything for anybody. When you have codependency and you're a people pleaser. So yes, the narcissist is going to smell you 1,000 miles away, and it's because of their personality traits. Their personality traits is they need someone that's pumping up their ego, and they need someone that has a lot of empathy, because they literally have zero empathy. They literally have zero empathy, and so the codependent or the people pleaser person sees the good in everybody, but that's not a good thing. I have learned that seeing the good in everyone is not a good thing, because you're seeing potential of what that person can be. You're seeing them for their good qualities, all while ignoring all of the red flags at the same time. So the thing is that you said was that you were going to get some professional help, which definitely I would say go ahead, do that, because you have to learn how to set boundaries with people, because narcissists, they only cross boundaries with people that they know that they can get away with it with. And so a coach taught me, a saying that I will speak up even when my voice shakes. And so what that means is that even when it's hard to set boundaries, I'm going to do it anyways. And you have to do that over and over and over again. Each time it gets a little bit easier to do that, but you have to set those boundaries, because I have had multiple people that are narcs in my life. And what I've seen is that they only do it with the people they know that they can get away with it, the people that they feel are beneath them. And so they see you as beneath, they see you as beneath them because of the fact that you have empathy, because of the fact that you have kindness, that you're willing to give so much. And but they don't do that with their boss. If their parents are very strong, stern people, they won't do it with their parents. The majority of people, they won't play those games. They will not. And so once you become set on your boundaries, your peace, no one's going to break that for you, then that's when the narcissist will leave you alone and they won't smell you 1,000 miles away, because the number one thing in repelling a narcissist is self-love. What do you know? The number one way to repel a narcissist is self-love, because they need you to put them first. They need you to give up everything for them, because everything is about them, because they have no empathy, because they need that person that is going to give them all of their wants and their needs. They need their ego pumped up. They need someone telling them how glorious they are, and waiting on their every thing. So whether that's your boss, whether that's your parent, whether that's your spouse, whether that's a long-term partner, a friend even, that's a narcissist, you need to start setting boundaries, because and you need to start practicing self-care and self-love, because once you start putting yourself first, it's going to upset them. Once you start putting boundaries up, it's going to upset them. But if you do it even when your voice shakes, over time you will repel them. And then you said that you're late to everything and you get distracted and get so upset with yourself. And that's why, I'm such a huge advocate for ADHD, because it's one of those things that people are like, oh, they just want to be late. And it's like, okay, the thing about the brain, right, is that we all have, something in our brain that allows us to be aware or conscious of time. Something about the ADHD brain is not built that way. That's why we're not neurotypical. We're neurodiverse. Our brain is very different from the average person. So we have time blindness. We have no concept of time. And because of the fact, and you add in addition to that being easily distracted, then that's even worse, because then 10 things stop you on your way out the house rather than you just going out the house anyways, right? So that's why I'm a big advocate for ADHD, because it's invisible. You can't see it, along with depression and anxiety, but a lot more people are sympathetic to depression and anxiety just because of the fact that of the suicide risk, because they can see the tears or sadness, or sometimes it's not sadness. Like for me, I told you it's numbness, but with ADHD, it always just seems like you're falling short and you're doing it on purpose, when you may not have consciousness or awareness of time. You may have gotten distracted. You may have had good intentions on being on time, but you got distracted 10 times and you dropped the ball because of being impulsive. So yeah, definitely when it comes to ADHD, I have found that self-acceptance is key. And so once I was able to accept, like, this is me, because when I first got my diagnosis, I was 16 and I did not believe the psychiatrist, and I just continued to live my life like I did not have ADHD. But once you accept for yourself that you have ADHD, then you're able to tell people, hey, look, I have ADHD. This is what ADHD looks like. And so I just need some extra patience. And I tell people, like, hey, I'm going to set 10 reminders, alarms. I'm going to write myself notes. I'm going to put sticky notes everywhere. And I tell them how much I'm trying. But then I'm also like, but don't hesitate to send me a reminder, because I'm just really bad at keeping up with things or keeping track of things, this, that, and this, so that, people can be aware that I'm trying, and then they can also try to help me compensate for my shortfalls. And then keeping people around you that are acceptant of your shortfalls and are easy forgivers. So you're gonna have to have friends that are easy forgivers and etc. When it comes to like your job and stuff, accommodations and that sort of thing, and you doing what you have to do. Like there's been times where I've just been like, you know what? I'm just gonna take all my makeup to work with me and do it when I get to work, or I'm gonna, same thing with hair, etc. So we talked a little bit about, not being victim to insomnia and codependency, like how to overcome those things. And then depression, I am like a huge believer in being like, I'm okay with myself personally taking medication, but also I have a mental health coach that I work through things with, that it's about like, healing my inner child and that sort of thing, because I think that that's super important to understand, like, okay, where's the numbness coming from? Why do you want to disassociate yourself? How do we create a life that, you can enjoy? And how do we naturally get dopamine back into your brain? So getting dopamine naturally into your brain and other like healthy endorphins and healthy neurotransmitters is like exercise. Exercise. I'm a health coach. But then also like, going for a run, going for a walk, journaling, writing a letter to yourself, your childhood self, and letting yourself know, your past self know, like why you have X, Y, and Z coping mechanism, and how you plan to overcome that. Let's see, listening to music, talking to a friend. There's so many things that you can do for depression that I just listed that help basically when you have depression and anxiety, you're basically internalizing a lot of feelings all at once. You have to find a way to externalize those things, and externalizing it looks like doing the things that I talked about, giving somebody a hug, petting your dog, spending quality time with loved ones, doing something outside of yourself. So I hope that this helped. This is the longest live that I've probably ever done, besides the ones where I've like worked out live. But it was like a lot to cover because there's so many diagnoses. I actually didn't even touch on like how I overcome insomnia, but really quickly, for insomnia, overcoming that for me looked like being able to understand why I had insomnia and then combating that. So for me, it looks like playing the same thing over and over again in my head. My body tenses up really, really bad. And like I'll fidget as well. So I literally, and also like anxious and worrying. So I have to like stop my thoughts. And this is the steps that I'm telling you is very similar to meditation. So if you've ever meditated or know anything about meditation, it's about clearing your mind, being able to pay attention to your breath, being able to pay attention to, what you're doing with your body. And those are the same exact techniques that help me to be able to fall asleep now to this very day. And I learned those things through my mental health coach, of like untensing my muscles, taking deep breaths, doing deep breathing exercises. And see, I'm having a moment. But let's see. I said untensing my muscles, deep inhales, and then clearing my mind of those worrying thoughts that I have, and I literally have to like repeat to myself over and over and over again, you have time to worry about this tomorrow, but now is the time to sleep. And I literally, that line gives me sleep. Honestly, it might sound so simple, like all you do is untense your muscles, all you do is repeat that over and over to yourself, or deep breathe. That's literally it. I tell myself, India, you have time to worry about this tomorrow, but now is the only time that you have to sleep. So now I don't have to take sleep aids. I used to take like some heavy sleep aids. I will tell you that right now. Like even prescription drugs. So we went over codependency, insomnia, social anxiety. Like I said, I do headphones when I go in the grocery store now. My anxiety medication helps me with my social anxiety. And then I have to just do my best not to try to beat myself up for saying something stupid. And it's honestly something that I still struggle with. My mental health coach is constantly reminding me, India, you do not owe anyone an explanation, or always have to constantly apologize, because that's what I tend to do when I've said something that I wasn't supposed to say. And so I tend to like want to like over apologize and say, I'm so sorry that I said that. And then playing it over and over and over again in my head. So yeah, it's literally just my medication, remembering that I don't owe anybody anything. I don't owe anybody an apology, or for, see, I'm having another moment. I don't even know what I was going to say just now. That was an ADHD moment. But yeah. So I hope this really helped. For my depression, I typically have to give myself a lot of grace. I have to give myself a lot of grace. So like what I tell my clients for depression, or not their depression, but what I tell my clients, because I'm not a therapist, but what I tell my clients that I do for my depression is that I have to give myself like a lot of grace, and I tell them to give themselves grace. So I read somewhere that said, ooh, I'm having another brain fart. It said it said that we're usually super productive and energized during certain days of the week. But it said if you pay attention, most of us have days of the week that we are not as energized, and we're very fatigued and we're very tired. But it was saying that's normal. That's normal. So give yourself the allowance to recover, to recoup. Sometimes what we think is depression is our body telling us, and our mind telling us, I'm burnt out, you did too much, you accepted way too many responsibilities, you said to so and so and so and so, which probably came from your codependency and people pleasing, that you would do X, Y, and Z, when you really couldn't hold all that responsibility. So sometimes what feels like depression is your mind and your body really just saying like, relax, like I can't handle anymore, I can't do anymore. And you go into like a shutdown mode. So you have to give yourself a lot of grace and allow yourself to, and thank you, James. I appreciate that. First, you said you awesome. Thank you. But yeah, you have to give yourself a lot of grace, and recognize that you're not superhuman. Recognize that you need help, that you need support, reaching out for that. Who can I delegate this to? Is this task really important? Will the world end if I don't get this done? And this goes for anxiety too, because I know my anxiety people know that you feel like you got to do everything all at once. And then depression feels like you can't do nothing, right? So, giving yourself that grace, reaching out for support, delegating tasks. Will the world end if I don't get this done? Do I just need some rest and recovery time and sleep? Am I lacking sleep? Is your sleep trash? Because if it is, that's probably a huge trigger for your depression. Because it is for me. So you got to give yourself grace. You got to have self-care. You have to recoup. You can't take on too much. You can't take on the world. And you have to know that you're imperfect, and that's okay. So yes. So I also feel better depression-wise when I'm on a health and fitness journey, when I'm holding myself accountable, when I'm helping others be accountable, and when I'm in a community of women that, are on the same fitness journey as me. It's super helpful that I'm not the only one struggling. Everybody on social media seems like they got it together, but they do not have it together. So so long live. There was 6 topics, 6 diagnoses to go over, how to overcome it, how to not be victim, because I know that you have it within you to be able to be on a health and fitness journey despite whatever diagnoses you have, because your diagnosis is not you. So like I said, I don't like when people are like, oh, depression is not real, anxiety is not real, ADHD is not real, or all these things are not real. They are very real. They are very real. Let somebody go kill themselves and that will show you that it's real. So just saying that it's not real or saying that someone doesn't need medication is not the answer, but definitely knowing that there is a way to overcome it is definitely the answer. So hope this helps. You are not alone. Please always reach out. Having your nutrition and your fitness on point is going to help you in all these aspects that I talked about, because once you can take control of that, you will realize that you can go through hard things and still show up for yourself. And so make sure that you give me a hashtag info about what it is I do. I'm not a mental health coach. I'm a fitness coach, a nutrition coach. But when you are eating like crap, don't expect to feel good. You're going to feel like crap if you're eating like crap. So having the right nutrition is going to help you be able to feel better, because honestly, your gut is how you get serotonin into your body through your food. Food gives us that dopamine rush when it tastes good and things like that. So food is definitely highly, highly related to your mental health and fitness as well, because your neurotransmitters are super active during and after exercise. So anyways, not that nutrition and fitness will cure it, but it's definitely a awesome way to combat these things. So as always, it is faith, consistency, and hard work that is going to get you to your goals. And thanks for tuning in. Give me a hashtag replay. Drop a heart if you got value. Let me know your biggest takeaway. I want to know. And hit me with a hashtag info if you want to know how I help plus size moms be able to lose 10 pounds every 30 days by healing emotional eating, healing their relationship with their body, healing their relationship with the scale, and all of the good things. So love you guys. Talk to you later. Coach Indy signing out. Bye.